when I'm not having to deal with diva lead singers. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
2.
Wait. I still
Oh.
Sorry. I'm such a diva.
You and your incessant crunching of ice.
I want good ice in my dressing room, and I want it now. And by my dressing room, I mean your bathroom.
Is that alkaline water in that ice? No.
No, I would taste it.
Just filtered? Brita? Oh.
Ew.
The common man.
Drinking your spit.
That's disgusting. Get this away from me. It's like blow ice chunks in my face. Go! My eyes.
Time for this beautiful song.
I know, right? Suck it, Neil Young. I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Do you experience guitar mojo? I really wanted to take this question seriously, so I had to look up exactly what mojo meant. According to the dictionary, mojo is a magic charm, talisman, or spell, or a garlic Cuban sauce. So when applied to a guitar, I guess it would be kind of like a guitar magic or trickery. Also, I found this handy chart from Google that shows that the word mojo kind of peaked a little bit around the 1950s, had a decline, and is on the uptake. So scientifically speaking, mojo is literally rising. Now, I kind of think that I don't really have a lot of guitar mojo, but I feel like I experience moments of guitar mojo. Case in point, the other night I was playing a show with Kindred, and again, it's like a 3-hour set. We play a ton of songs. A lot of the songs are pop songs that I don't really like, but you know, they're crowd pleasers, they're bangers. And we were playing Shawn Mendes, There's Nothing Holding Me Back. And I was really tired at this point, and I was getting a little loopy. And I think I really went into a state of guitar mojo because I really turned that pop song into a bit of like a pop rock jazz odyssey that sadly there's no video evidence of, which is kind of my fault. But I can tell you that I was definitely in the guitar mojo zone. So I think a lot of you guys know I'm not a super flashy player, and I think a lot of the mojo comes from in here instead of like here. So again, I have moments of guitar mojo experience, but I wouldn't say that I have guitar mojo because I really think that you can't own guitar mojo. I think mojo is just something, it's almost like a collective mojo that we are lucky enough to tap into. So those are just my thoughts on personally what guitar mojo is. Please share your mojo experiences so we can have a nice forum of mojo banter. This video is 99.9% talking, 1% playing. I swear to God, you can't make this stuff up. The Salty Blues comments are the absolute best. 99.9% talking, 1% playing. Really, decimal points are a little above your pay grade at the time, but it's great. I had a lot of respect for your taste in music until you just mentioned the Chili Peppers. Alright, I think this is kind of funny too, but hating on the Red Hot Chili Peppers is not something that I will ever get behind. To a certain extent, I do understand that there is a little bit of a backlash, but you know what? I don't care. I'm doubling down. I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I even like the stuff that a lot of people don't like. I think Stadium Arcadium absolutely should have been a double album. I'm upset that they didn't make it a triple album. So any Red Hot Chili Peppers hate, you can direct on someone else's channel because we're not having it here. You really overpronounce a lot of words, sort of trailing the final consonant. Please stop. By the way, that was my first comment ever on anything internet-y. I do want to say, other than that, you translate the lessons better than anyone else. For me, anyway. I had to have a double dose of salty comments for this week. I am so proud that you were able to make your very first internet comment. Double thumbs up on that. And in true spirit of the internet fashion, your very first correspondence on anything online is to kind of hate on someone for the way they talk and then tell them to change it, even though you found great value in the content they put out. That's pretty great. I just learned that my vocal coach, who I've recently started taking lessons from, has never heard of Martin guitars. This led me to realize that she is much more choir-based in her musical background and not really in my genre of music. Should I be concerned about this, as I don't want to waste money, or are the foundations for good singing universal? So the short answer is don't worry about it. If they're a good teacher, they're a good communicator, a lot of the workings of good singing or playing or whatever is kind of universal to a certain extent. Now, you do kind of want to make sure that they at least understand the genre that you're talking about. But again, just if you're lucky enough to find a good teacher, stick with them. Now the long answer is yes, you should absolutely fire your vocal teacher. Something that I like to do is find something weird about another person, disagree with them for kind of no real good reason, and then hold it against them for the rest of their lives. I remember I was talking to this person at like a Christmas party, and they were talking about Radiohead, and this girl's like, oh, I'm a huge Radiohead fan. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, because, I'm a big Radiohead fan. Let's talk about it for a little bit. And then I'm like, well, what do you think of the new album? And she's like, oh, I don't, like, what's the new album? And I'm like, Moonshaped Pool at the time. And she's like, oh, I'm just really, like, into Creep. And I'm just like, all right, well, first of all, you're not a Radiohead fan. Second of all, we'll never be friends because you approach this under the false pretense of you being a Radiohead fan. I know this doesn't have anything to do with finding a vocal teacher, but it's one of those things where, like, you haven't heard of Martin guitars. It's just kind of messed up, right? So I'm not really relaying this as advice, but it's something that I find fun to do as far as judging people and then holding a grudge for as long as you can really keep it going. Will we hear the flute on some of the songs? Will you hear the flute on some of the new Celtic album songs? Yes, absolutely. By the way, the Emerald Riders Celtic album is coming along very swimmingly, and there's probably going to be a behind-the-scenes look at it very soon, so stay tuned. Love the videos. 2 questions. Do you think I can become a better player just by listening to your vibe? 2, for acoustic guitars, do you think it's better to use an external mic or add a pickup? So to answer the first question, yes, of course. As you've already known, sometimes I experience Guitar Mojo and I can help others tap into that collective. But really, something that I try to do in a lot of the videos is make it so you can maybe learn something on guitar or about music without actually having to have a guitar handy. Because those are kind of the videos that I actually enjoy the most, where I don't really watch a lot of YouTube videos while I'm practicing or something. So again, that's just me, and everybody kind of digests YouTube in a different way. But usually I'm kind of on the go or in between things. So if I can learn something in my downtime, that is absolutely my favorite way of learning anything in general. So yeah, really a lot of the point of some of the guitar lessons is to try to maybe help clarify stuff going on in your mind's eye as compared to, drilling the muscle memory and kind of coming up with ideas for improving a guitar in general. For the second question, I always do think that the sound of a mic'd up acoustic guitar is preferable to the pickup, but again, it's really hard to get that under control in a lot of live situations depending on, what's going on as far as the sound system goes. Acoustic guitar pickups are kind of growing on me. I really kind of hated the one in my Martin, but somehow it's grown on me. I think it's really just kind of like a matter of finding the right strings for it. I actually started going up a gauge in strings. I used to play 11s on the acoustic electric Martin that I perform with. I since ratcheted that up to 12s, and that's made a big difference on the sound, a bigger difference than I even thought, and the playability really isn't compromised that much. So I do play 12s live now, even though it does kind of take its toll over hours of playing. But I think it does sound a lot better, and I have since enjoyed using that Fishman analog pickup that comes in the guitar a lot more than I used to. So again, for recording specifically, always mic the guitar up. But for live stuff, I'm kind of coming around a little bit more on just using the direct out, just because it's so much easier, so much less of a headache, and it sounds fine as compared to usually sounding great. Also using like a DI and a lot of amps. I know people have really highly recommended the Mesa Boogie acoustic amp DI, even if you don't use the amp part, but just to go direct out. People have told me that sounds phenomenal. Hopefully maybe someday I'll be able to try that out. But those are my thoughts as of now. So for listening homework, Chris Cornell has been in the news today. They've released like a bunch of stuff from kind of like B-sides, I guess, from Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog, solo stuff. But I'm going to link you to my favorite Soundgarden song because Chris Cornell is an absolute beast, possibly the GOAT, and sorely missed. So check that out. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.